President Trump will no longer visit the CDC today. What the change of plans means for that $8 billion funding bill in the works to fight the coronavirus.
And a second Metro Atlanta school shuts its doors for a while, all because of the coronavirus. I'm Daniel Wilkerson, live in Cherokee County.
Livid at DeKalb Police Department for detaining my 11-year-old.
An 11-year-old girl cuffed, thrown in a cop car. A Lithonia mother says the traumatic experience happened right outside her front door.
Good morning, 6:30 on a Friday, March 6th. I'm Gurveer Dinza.
And I'm Karen Greer. A lot to get to in this last half hour of news. We're going to begin with your weather because we know you want to know what kind of day is on tap. Well, most accurate forecast with Fred.
Hi, Karen. Good morning. Check this out. We're going to see some sunshine today. Nice dose of vitamin D in the forecast. Unfortunately, we also have some strong winds to contend with today. There is a wind advisory in effect until 7 o'clock this evening. I think the peak winds, though, are likely from around lunchtime through late this afternoon. And during that time, we may see some gusts in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. So when you combine those strong wind gusts with the saturated ground that we have, should be enough to take down some trees and possibly cause some isolated power outages. So something to think about for later on today. Temperature right now is in the mid 40s, but it's not going to warm very much from where it is right now. It'll make it up into the mid 50s this afternoon. It's the wind, though, that we'll have to contend with. Notice 9 this morning, that wind is gusting to 25 to 30 miles per hour. And then by noontime, it's gusting closer to 35 miles per hour. Let's check in now with Rodney Harris at 632, see if there's some trouble spots on the roadways.
Fred, we're going to take you back to Gwinnett County this morning. Still seeing a few delays in Gwinnett County on 316, really in both directions. We're going to zoom in here on the pinpoint traffic map and give you a better idea of what's going on. This is 316 westbound and eastbound. A little delay here around Hurricane Shoals Road. It's right before you get to Gwinnett College, so just a heads up again. That's coming out of Decula, kind of going through Lawrenceville. As you continue westbound past Lawrenceville, you'll be good to go. But again, 316 westbound around Hurricane Shoals Road, still looking at some slight delays there. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Everybody else in Atlanta is looking pretty good. Some of you who are in Lithonia, for example, as you hop on I-20 going westbound, you're going to start to slow down. That's just your normal time of day volume that's starting to pick up. We'll let you know the moment that a crash occurs, and we will have more weather and traffic coming up for you in under 10 minutes.
All right, Rodney, thanks so much. It is 6:32, and President Trump was originally scheduled to visit the Atlanta-based Centers for Disease Control and Prevention today. But we just learned his trip is canceled. No word yet on what led to that change in the plans. But the president is, however, expected to sign an $8 billion coronavirus funding package.
I think it represents the very best of Washington, D.C., coming together, putting the health and well-being of the American people first.
That amount is 3 times what the White House initially requested, suggesting they did not anticipate the scope of this crisis. So I sat down one-on-one with Governor Brian Kemp to get some of your questions answered about what the funding could mean for us here in Georgia and what he thinks of the response from the White House so far.
The vice president is a former governor. He knows that we're on the front lines. I mean, we have a whole floor on a hotel right now that we're holding and paying for that nobody's in, just in case we have an issue at the airport and we need to self-contain someone. I'm really appreciative of their support and, quite honestly, the level of communication that we have had with them through this process. They're doing a great job.
Even though the president's visit to the CDC is canceled, he is still expected to sign that funding bill. And the Pentagon is warning of a second possible wave of coronavirus cases by next winter. Gurveer?
And Karen, the governor is also trying to ease the fears of so many people who have concerns about the virus. He says there are no new cases in Metro Atlanta, but that news comes as a second school is now shut down. Compass Prep Academy in Cherokee County is closing its school for 2 weeks. CBS46's Daniel Wilkerson is live in Cherokee County this morning. Daniel, what more can you tell us about why they're closing?
Well, as you know, people aren't taking any chances, and it is for good reason. After all, places like this, Compass Prep Academy, they have the front door handle here. Everyone touches it going in. Take a look. Here's what we know. A 15-year-old diagnosed with the virus had contact with a Compass Prep Academy student. The school sent a note out to parents saying one of its teachers' children sat next to a child that tested positive in a class they attend together. Now, that teacher's child is showing symptoms. The Georgia Department of Public Health is asking any student who has shared classes with the infected student to self-quarantine. Cynthia Blevins is not connected to all of this, but is a concerned parent here in the county.
There's a lot of high school kids within this area, and school kids, period, that, socialize with one another. So just, that is kind of alarming and scary at the same time, because it's here in Cherokee County.
Now, this all comes as the Living Science Homeschool Study Center in Woodstock remains closed. A local teen who contracted the virus attends classes there once a week. A school official says out of an abundance of caution, families have been asked to voluntarily self-quarantine for 2 weeks. They return to classes March 12th. That teen and his 56-year-old father are confirmed to have the coronavirus. Now, back out here live in Cherokee County, this school will be closed for 2 weeks. We're live in Canton. Daniel Wilkerson, CBS 46 News.
Daniel, thanks. 24 before 7. Well, 2 local universities are gearing up for spring break, which officially kicks off after classes end today. And they're telling the students coming back from study abroad, don't come back to campus. Both the University of Georgia and Kennesaw State say students returning from high-risk coronavirus countries from spring break or study abroad, quote, must not return to campus for at least 14 days. UGA also has canceled study abroad programs in China, South Korea, and Italy.
Your time now is 6:37, and CBS 46 is fighting to get answers for a Lithonia mother. You can see police here. This is the video that has really raised some concerns. That mother's furious after DeKalb County police handcuffed and detained her 11-year-old daughter. This happening right in front of their home. Cynthia Hendricks says a DeKalb County police officer knocked on her door earlier this week. He told her that witnesses saw a 16-year-old girl running in the direction of her home after trying to break into a car. He then asked to speak to her daughter. Hendricks pulled out her phone and showed the office surveillance video proving that she and her daughter had been home for hours, but apparently that wasn't enough.
He was like, put your hands behind your back. I'm going to detain you. And I was like, what? He starts moving towards my daughter. And I was like, what? Are you serious?
That officer held the 11-year-old handcuffed in the back of his squad car for 10 minutes. And then he realized apparently that she didn't actually fit the description of the suspect. Hendricks says that she only got a half-hearted apology. Now, we did reach out to DeKalb County Police about this. They declined to answer any of our questions.
It's 6:38. All new this morning, a frantic search is underway for a missing teenage girl in Oconee County. Let's get straight over to Carolyn Ryan at the live desk. And Carolyn, we understand you know the mother of this missing teen.
Karen, I do. I used to work with Terry Clark at WLOS in Asheville, North Carolina, and she is absolutely beside herself. Julia, her daughter, has been missing for 2 weeks. Imagine that. So she was last seen on the night of February 20th at her home in Oconee County. That's near Athens. Julia is just 17 years old. Her photo is right there on your screen. She's 17 again. She has a blonde hair, blue eyes. She's 5'3" and weighs about 100 pounds. Now the sheriff says it is possible that Julia ran away, but they're concerned that because it's been 2 weeks, she could really be in extreme danger at this point. She had no money when she left the house, so there are a lot of questions as to her whereabouts. Now, the GBI has actually been called in to assist in the search for Julia, and a $10,000 reward is now being offered to anybody who can help bring her home. And Gravier, as I toss it back to you, I know a lot of people are praying for Julia's safe return. I just can't imagine what her mom is going through right now.
Absolutely, Carolyn. As parents, we certainly feel her pain, hoping for good news.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. It is 6:39 and police are investigating another slider crime. This one's involving a former Atlanta Hawk. It happened last month at a gas station on Northside Parkway, very popular one. That's where police say the crooks stole Josh Smith's 2019 Range Rover. Police say Smith went into the store while he was pumping gas, and while he was inside, someone just jumped right in the Range Rover and drove off. Right now, investigators are working to get surveillance video from that Chevron. No word on any suspects. Coming up on 20 minutes before the top of the hour, and make some good plans for this weekend.
That's right, making some outdoor plans for a change. This will be our first 4-day dry stretch that we've seen since December 24th to the 27th. So looking forward to that in a big way. Lake Lanier. Look at this, clear sky over the lake. Notice how it's pretty calm right now, but that wind will be kicking in. And the wind is the big story for us for today. Aside from the fact that we're going to see a lot of this, a lot of sunshine, temperatures will be in the mid-50s, but the wind actually a bigger story because it could cause some issues. We have a wind advisory in effect until 7 o'clock. I think the peak wind gusts are between about 10 o'clock and 7 o'clock this evening, and we're talking about gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour. So if the wind gets that strong, may be able to down some trees and possibly cause some power outages. So we'll be watching for that. It'll be a great weekend. Daylight saving time begins this weekend, so you get to enjoy a little bit later sunset on Sunday at 7:40, and mild weather is in store for us for next week. Look at the temperature trend here from 55 to near 60 on Saturday to about 63 on Sunday, and then not too far from 70 by the middle of next week.